Hello and welcome to the video we're going to cover here. It's in the new book. This is section 5.1 and 5.2, Practice Test A. This will be very similar to the test you'll be taking shortly, including these directions. It says here each expression simplifies to a constant, a single function, or maybe the power of a function like sine squared or cos cubed. Use fundamental identities to simplify each expression. So we don't know exactly where the finish line is, but when we get it down to a single term, we've probably got it. So let's see here on the first one, I'm going to employ the old strategy, turn everything into sines and coses. Tan is sine over cos, and I'm just going to use x as my variable. And then cos is cos over 1. So they're going to cancel, and then we get sine x. So we're down to a single term. We've probably got the right answer. We've fulfilled the directions. Up next, secant times cos of r. Well, it's a pretty basic one. Secant will be 1 over cos times cos we'll write as cos over 1. So it cancels. We get 1 over 1 or 1. Remember the direction said we could have a constant answer. That one we just saw. Here was a single function, sine x. Let's see what's next. Ooh. Okay, we got a sine and a cos, and we got a tan in there. I'm just going to turn everything into sines and coses. So this sine in the numerator I'll leave alone. This tan, I'll make that sine over cos. And then underneath all of that, we have cos, or cos over 1. So we are going to bring this one up and flip it. I'm going to switch to red ink. So now it's 1 over cos. And here we've got one big expression with 3 things multiplied. So it looks like if we multiply straight across the top, we're going to have sine squared. And across the bottom, we're going to have cos squared. And since it's sine squared over cos squared, we can turn that into tan squared of x or beta or whatever variable you want to use. Oh, secant squared minus 1. We can just go right to the Pythagorean identities for that. That's equal to tan squared x. So that was just a Pythagorean. Let's see here. Let's see, they gave us this as sine squared over cos squared. Well, that's going to be a tan squared. Plus, and we've got a sine times cosecant. I'm going to leave the sine alone, and I'm going to turn the cosecant into 1 over sine. So now all these are going to cancel, but they don't just disappear. Remember, there are 1s there, so that we got a 1 placeholder. So that becomes tan squared x plus 1. And tan squared plus 1 is secant squared x. And that is the front page, where we were just simplifying down to a single term. Now the back page here, we will verify the identity. So we do have an equals. We do have a finish line, so we know when we're done. So I'm looking at my finish line here. It's cos. Might be a good idea to turn everything over here into sines and coses. Well, this cotan in the numerator, that's going to be cos over sine. And then underneath that denominator, we have a cosecant. I'm going to make that 1 over sine. And a fraction divided by a fraction. Of course, we're going to bring that one up and flip it. So now it's sine theta over 1. We get our cancellation. And we've got cos is equal to cos. We've made it to the finish line. Oh, this one should just be a couple steps here. Look at that numerator. 1 minus sine squared. I've said before, if you see a squared trig function and a 1 lurking around, might be a Pythagorean identity. And 1 minus sine squared in this case is cos squared beta. And that is divided by cos beta. And you could either look at this, we're going to subtract the exponents. 2 minus 1 is 1. Or you could write that numerator cos squared as cos beta times cos beta. And then we can see one of those will cancel, and we're left with cos beta over 1, and that's our finish line. Let's see here. Number 37. The tan squared plus 1 here in the parenthesis, that's sticking out like a sore thumb. That's going to turn into secant squared theta. And we've still got this cos squared out front. Well, I'm going to leave the cos squared alone, maybe put a 1 under it. And secant squared, I'll turn into 1 over cos squared, and they're going to cancel, so we get 1 is equal to 1, and that's our finish line. And that is the end of practice test A. Be on the lookout for the next video, practice test B.